Hi everybody, I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture Wrestling.
And isn't it nice to have him back?
That has thrown me for a loop, but we are going to talk about all kinds of news stuff today because that's what we do on this show that is called The News. Anyway, I've got a nice story on last night's big return, all the backstage scoops on that thing that happened.
A WWE champion has been given a legit, for real, definitely 100% no takesy backsies actual in real life fine.
A new report on the surprising WWE superstar who might be getting a big push soon.
Luke Harper's back. That's pretty much the whole story, but we'll go into more detail with it.
This is the news.
Yes, it
and
is.
You know what that means. We're going to kick things off with a little Clash of Champions wrap up. Going to talk about some of the biggest stories coming out of that event. Not a whole lot of stories in the ring necessarily in terms of outcomes and stuff, but a few notable angles. The first one, the most notable one, is the one that closed the show. It is, of course, the Fiend attacking Seth Rollins. So, just to run you through the situation, Seth Rollins just beat Braun Strowman, almost said Brock Lesnar, to retain the Universal Championship. It took 4 stomps and a pedigree to put Braun down. Certainly quite the giant killing there. Rollins, Seth the Chef, headed up the ramp. He was doing the celebrations on the stage. The lights cut out, the horror movie noises kick in. At that stage, you know what's going to happen. The Fiend appears. He hits the Sister Abigail on the stage. Very painful. Lights go out again. Come back on. Fiend does the mandible claw. Doesn't have the sock yet. That'll come. Lays Rollins out again. Show goes off the air with the Fiend cackling. The lights are doing stuff. There's sound effects all over the place. So it looks like those reports that surfaced a few weeks ago suggesting that the Fiend would challenge for the Universal Championship at Hell in a Cell on the 6th of October were true. And now the program is in motion, like the world, John Barnes.
I've literally done a face turn on this entire thing this morning because I spent the entire week you've been off being like, too early, too early, too early, too early. Like, you can have an interesting championship program and an interesting character and they don't need to combine until they both need a little bit of a shot in the arm. Don't just throw them together because they're the only 2 good things you got. I've said this and I've said this and I've said this. Then Hamlet tweeted, why not? We'll all be bored as piss of it all by January anyway. Why not just strike while the iron's hot? And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. I don't trust them to like drag it all out that long. So yeah, good. It's probably the best match they've got going.
It's a
I
good
would have
point,
saved
that.
it, but never mind.
It's a good point, that, because long-termism really isn't a thing in
don't do it,
WWE.
do
Like, things just run out of steam and they book for short attention spans and goldfish bowl booking. People talk about that all the time. Yeah, I mean, it was a really cool angle as well, and it's amazing what a cool angle will do to get you excited for stuff. I'm sure there will be a pretty interesting follow-up on tonight's Raw as well. 2
things I really liked about it. One, even when the lights went out and Jerry Lawler was in the ring, he was like, no, I'm out here, I'm out here. I was like, smart move, but then when you get to the ramp, obviously keep going. Seth Rollins has seen that and gone, well, I'm going to do my celebrating with my back turned to the entranceway here. Yes, nothing can go wrong. I'm the champ. And then, yes, also the fact he beat Braun Strowman with a pedigree.
Yeah, kind of interesting, isn't it?
Kind of interesting,
and
that
all
one.
those stomps and all that other stuff. Interesting turn of events, but do you want to talk about
Yeah,
another
speaking of Seth Rollins, somebody knows Seth Rollins quite well because they have sex, is Becky Lynch, and she retained sort of her Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks last night. Now, we did say in the run-up to this that you can't bring someone back as hot as Banks and have them lose unless you're going to do a typical sports entertainment finish. You can drag it out to Hell in a Cell, and of course, that's what they have done because Sasha Banks won the match.
Sort of.
By disqualification, meaning, of course, if Becky retains the belt, they're going to drag this out of Hell in a Cell as we expect them to do. But what happened was, Becky hit the official with a chair. Accidentally, we should add, Sasha moved out of the way. She caught the official, and then the match was kind of thrown out off the back of that. And as a result, she's been given, and I nearly got the number wrong for this, but she's been given a $10,000 fine. I thought it was $100,000 because that's really big, but $10,000 fine.
Yeah.
For somebody who makes like $500,000 a year.
Yeah, $10,000 kayfabe fine. It's like one of those fines footballers gets when they get too many red cards or whatever.
A kayfabe fine? You mean to tell me she's not actually being fined for this?
I hate to be the one to break it to you, but for that heinous act committed completely off script on pay-per-view last night, Becky Lynch has gone away.
Well, I'm going to have to redo my intro to this. We're going to have to start again because I was really going for this being a legit thing.
Yeah, she hasn't been Lars Sullivan.
Yeah, I don't really know precisely where you go with this other than it just being something to really sell the idea that you can't hit officials with a steel chair. But this chair thing's been like the biggest gimmick in their whole... Chairs have been more important than the actual title belt in this whole Lynch versus Banks thing so far. So are they going to do a chair thing at Hell in a Cell with chairs attached to the inside of it?
Are they going to somehow stretch this out to TLC and do a chairs match?
Are they? Are they? I really hope they're not.
I hope not as well. But hey, you know, WWE doing what they do, doing what they think is best to build heat, I guess.
Sports entertainment, gonna sports entertainment.
Exactly.
Put it that way, yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, let's pivot slightly. Let's talk about a sports entertainer who wasn't on last night's show. We'll come back to one who was. A guy who might be getting a massive push in WWE. Now, we obviously talk about stories like this all the time, but this one comes from the ever-reliable Sean Rossap of Fightful.com, who is reporting that after impressing Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, and Kevin Dunn, Ali might be in line. There might be some plans in the works. There might be something in motion for him on SmackDown. This comes after a match last week against Elias in the King of the Ring tournament. Everyone was impressed. Apparently Vince McMahon and Bischoff both congratulated him personally backstage. Kevin Dunn was blown away as well, probably doing some mad stuff with his twofers, because that's Kevin Dunn's thing. But yeah, no, this is cool to hear. It's something that might be quite easy to be cynical about, because number one, it's a story about a wrestler potentially getting pushed, and stuff like this often doesn't pan out. Number two, it's also Ali, and we've heard things about, relating to him for this in the past. But at the same time, the match was really good. And he seems like a nice guy, so I'd like to see it happen.
I'll be honest, when you said he managed to impress Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, and Eric Bischoff all at the same time, I thought you were going to tell me he brought a Rudy Mag in backstage or something like that. Hey, that's our guy! He knows what this is all about. That's good though, because Ali's been, certainly one of the most consistently entertaining things. Certainly there's that big phase he had on SmackDown where we all speculated he might be in line for a WWE Championship. Not even shot. Yeah. Reign, where he looked like being one of the best things they had. Cruiserweight Classic him, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. OG.
Didn't even do that well in it, but wasn't the story that Vince liked him because he found out he was also working as a police officer at the same time and liked his chutzpah, his work ethic.
That sounds about right to me.
That could work. Yeah, that'd be nice. It would be. They need a bit more variety in SmackDown at the minute. Certainly, once we finally move on from this Randy Orton program, finally after Hell in a Cell. I would genuinely like to see Kofi versus Ali. Do a face versus face thing, please.
I think it would be cool because, Ali was seemingly pegged for big things prior to getting the injury before Elimination Chamber cost him his spot in the match. Kofi comes in. Suddenly, Kofi's the hot babyface when he wins the belt and all that. Not to say that Ali was in line to win the belt, of course. They obviously altered those plans for Kofi and so forth, but they clearly had something in the works for him. He had that fill-in triple threat title match at Fastlane where it was a really good match, but, he was just there to get heat on Kofi, who was pulled out by Vince McMahon, who's an asshole. Good for him. I like Ali. He seems like a really good dude, and you want to see good dudes do good things in good company, so...
you know what it is? I had another point to make, but saying you want to see good dudes do good things in good companies. That's 2/3 of the perfect segue to what happened with Luke Harper last night, because he's a good dude, we're going to see do good things in a company you can have your own opinion on, and I wouldn't dare tell you what it was. Is it the biggest headline coming out of last night?
Yeah.
This is kind of the biggest shock thing coming out of last night. Rowan versus Roman Reigns. Now, if you had down on your scorecard last night that Eric Rowan was going to win that match, I think, put your tick in the wrong box because nobody saw that coming. Yeah. But he did. He actually beat Roman Reigns, and it was a no disqualification match, so you can't even call shenanigans because you played by the rules of no disqualification. Things happened that would have normally got a disqualification but didn't, and that thing was that his old pal, his old cult friend, and then his friend from when he went back to the cult that time, and then his tag team partner, and then when they went back to the cult for the third time, and then
Hammer buddy.
And then when they went and brought all them hammers together, Luke Harper's back. Yeah. Luke Harper. In what I must say is one of the best pieces of WWE camera work I've seen in a long time. Roman Reigns gets his oorah at the top of the ramp. He's going to spear Rowan through the ring, I think was the implication with that spot.
Something like that,
But then, bang!
Yeah.
Luke Harper jumping the barrier. Thankfully, the crowd's so quiet last night that nobody spoiled the surprise by popping for him, jumping over the barrier. Takes Roman's jaw clean off his face, and then they beat him up, and he wins. And those two are back together. I don't officially know if this is a Bludgeon Brothers reunion. I don't think it is, because they haven't got their city hats on or anything. They were just in their civvy casual gear. But he's back, which is amazing, really, given that the guy publicly asked for his release. He looked more than finished. They were going to keep him, they were going to Neville him, basically.
Pay him to do nothing.
Pay him to do nothing. He had that great match at WrestleMania weekend with, I always get his name wrong, Dijakovic.
Dijakovic.
Dijakovic. That's a great match with them.
Yeah.
And he was really annoyed because nobody was really going to see it because it was on this very small show. But he's back. He's a good dude who can now potentially do good things.
Yeah,
mostly
and hopefully the company's good to him. It's an interesting situation because as recently as a few days ago, various sources were reporting that Vince is just never going to do anything with Luke because he hates him and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I really like Luke Harper. I think he's a really fun guy to watch. I would love to see him come back and get some kind of improved presentation. Whether or not that actually happens, I am dubious. But, it was a really cool moment, really exciting. Nobody saw it coming. It was really well directed and produced, as you mentioned there. I think the whole thing came off really well. He's taking a page out of Rowan's book as well and just turning up in a random metal t-shirt. I'm on a Marth Vikings. Cool. It was really well done. Corey Graves on commentary, it might have been Corey actually, called this bludgeoning as well. So maybe they are going back to the Bludgeon Brothers, but if they are doing that, I hope they leave the stupid hammers at home. Those were lame.
The Bludgeon Brothers were cool in that they were a physically dominating tag team, entering a tag team roster where everybody was like the Usos and the New Day, and nobody was like that. So they had this very distinctive, we have hammers, and we're all over 6'4". It was great, but also lame.
Yeah, it was kind of corny. That would have looked amazing in the 80s maybe, but...
but this ain't the goddamn 80s.
Yeah, it's 2019, brother. We got to move on. And speaking of moving on, we're going to stay on the same subject. Good segue. A little bit more on the Luke Harper situation. Just a little snippet from PW Insider, who had some backstage notes on how the return went down and the extent that WWE went to ensure it stayed a surprise. So what they did is, WWE, they usually have a pretty detailed run sheet, covers everything that's going on throughout the night. Some producers knows all kinds of stuff on it. They just kept Harper completely off that. He was not featured once. So that meant that producers and editors and various other people, apart from the people who obviously caught that wonderful piece of camera work, nobody would have known he was there. They also kept him locked in some room backstage
I like that bit.
all night. They probably made the poor guy wait like 4 hours in some janitor closet, fiddling around with like bleach and picking his nose and, I don't know, putting a thumb in his bum, whatever they do for fun in a janitor's closet. They made him wait. They didn't bring him out of there. They didn't let him loose on the public until just before the Rowan versus Reigns match started. So credit for WWE. They had to get creative. They had to make extreme steps to make sure that this thing, one, didn't leak, and number two, wasn't known to other roster members who presumably would have popped their faces off.
I will say, simultaneously very impressed and very annoyed by this, because I did scour the goddamn internet for last-minute rumors, because it wasn't a big show in terms of things people were talking about. I scoured message boards, Reddit, everything. The word Harper was not mentioned anywhere. No. So absolutely fair play to them for that. Although, of course, very annoyed I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Shall we move on?
Let's go on.
Twitter questions. I am on the wrong page on my phone. Now I'm on the right page on my phone. Here we go. The first one comes from Christopher95 Collins, regular contributor, says, whoever wins King of the Ring, Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable, how would you book them in future storylines?
Oh my God, please, I beg if you're watching, Vince, please, don't make it a stupid King gimmick where they come down all the time with a scepter. Like, allow them to refer to themselves as the King. You do that in the office and it's really, really good. But you don't go around with like a hat and a thing on being like, everything is magisterial. I decree that I must have this match. Just allow them to be a king in sort of presentation and attitude, as opposed to like literally they sit on a throne and carry a gavel. And also just book them better than they were getting previously. That's the whole point of the tournament, surely.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think if Chad Gable wins, I would like to see them stop making height jokes, because it's literally his only weakness. You probably shouldn't emphasize that. If Corbin wins, I'd just like to see him be a hammy bell end and properly cheese it up, and because he's been really good lately. And I know like praising Baron Corbin was kind of like a nudge wink thing. Wink bing among us on this channel here, but he's legitimately good now. So that'd be cool. It'd be cool to see him just kind of ham it up and annoying people forever.
Not to put you on the spot, but he's 1,000% winning, isn't he?
Oh, he's definitely. Yeah. Little Chad's getting squashed by the big boss.
He's just going to come up short, I think.
Good. Got another one here from Matthew Cross. He asks, hey guys, any chance WWE swoops in and creates a working relationship with New Japan if for no other reason than to take a shot at AEW?
People have asked Meltzer this question 100 times when he does his little, when he sits down for 4 hours and just quote tweets every single question he gets. There's currently nothing on the table.
An anime avatar, that's definitely worth replying to.
When's he gonna learn?
Hentai.
Basically, no, not any time in the near future, I would imagine. It's dumb because any two wrestling promotions should collaborate, especially if they're not working in the exact same territory. But the problem they've got is that the internet is a territory now for everybody, and you compete constantly for watch hours, for just eyes on a product. And in that regard, WWE competes with everybody, no matter how big or how small. If you have an on-demand service, for example, not that we know anything about this, they consider you a direct rival, and it's not a case of wanting to work with people when you are the biggest show in town, and you don't need to work with anybody. I think the problem is, it would probably do more for New Japan, that relationship, because it would open them up to an audience that largely hadn't even heard of them.
Yeah, casual fans, certainly. I don't think it'll ever happen in a million years either. Like, I don't see the benefit for either side, really. New Japan would certainly be open to a wider audience, but then you have to compromise the product and the type of stuff they produce. It's not sports entertainment. It's that real sport, king of sport, lion mark, all that stuff. I don't necessarily think it's a good fit. I do think WWE will move into Japan at some time, though. Well, I think they'll probably try and acquire a smaller company and kind of do what they've done in the UK, which has worked out really well for British wrestling so far.
People, yeah.
And finally, it's the last Twitter question comes from True Hoax. Asks,
Mr. and Mrs. Hoax is untrue.
Here we go. The phrasing of this is quite interesting. Does anyone find it interesting when wrestlers take long walks around the arena, like in Sasha versus Becky? Crowd brawling, good or bad?
Yes, I do find it interesting.
Yeah, me too.
There you go.
Very good.
I always, from a production standpoint, and again, this is purely because we've worked in the goddamn business now, the actual logistics of filming this stuff are monumental. WWE have those big crane cameras that they benefit from, but when smaller companies do it, 9 times out of 10, it hasn't been specifically cleared with either production or anybody, just the wrestlers just do it because they think it'll be fun. And so what you end up with is like loads of people with like big heavy ringside cameras that are attached by massive big wires going, I can't get over this barrier. So on indie shows, it tends to just be shots of like the crowd and then like 2 wrestlers behind them.
You might see a fist flowing over all these people.
I find it interesting from a production standpoint.
Yeah, no, it can be really good fun. The thing is, it needs to be really heated. It needs to look like a real fight, and that the WWE style isn't always the best at kind of producing that because it's so clean and clinical and safe, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I do think it comes off better sometimes elsewhere where the wrestlers have more freedom, like when John Moxley and Juice Robinson were brawling across the arena in Moxley's New Japan debut. That was great stuff. Sometimes in WWE it's a bit flat, but the Sasha and Becky stuff, I think it came off really, really well. I think they did a good job. I love it when wrestlers just take a nice little stroll around the arena.
The only time I don't like it, and we're going to drag this point on way longer than it needs to be, the only time I don't like it is when we're doing a live stream and it's in the middle of a match that I'm not bothered about and there's still 3 hours to go, and they go into the crowd and I'm like, there's at least 10 minutes of this left.
Yeah, you know it's going to continue forever.
Oh, get in the ring!
Fix it! Sort your life out. Anyway, before we move on to the end, finally, I've got a couple of birthday shout-outs. Not something we normally do, but a couple of people asked very nicely and they're fans of the channel and we love them very much. First one comes from #Coley, who asks, my girlfriend's birthday is coming up and she probably likes you guys more than me. Okay. What's it going to take for a shout-out? Biggie is on Cameo, why aren't you? We should be on Cameo.
We should be on Cameo in fairness.
But yeah, shout-outs to Coley's girlfriend.
Yeah, shout out to his girlfriend. Yeah, well done.
Respect. The other one comes from Bryant Nungari, regular contributor, legend of the channel, asks, can I get a birthday shout-out? I provide my ID to prove it. Also, a moustache was added because I had a little bit of the bubbly already. He's actually provided his driving license, which we...
Sorry, is the moustache legitimately on his driving license?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of work there. But
okay.
But yeah,
okay.
Shout outs to Brian. Thank you for being such an avid viewer, all of you. And regular question askers.
1994. Hey, God, whole life ahead of him, eh?
Oh, man. Remember when you were that young?
No. I was never that young.
Michael Hamflett does. Everything was black and white. Anyway, today's and finally, I've got it on my phone here. He's not here today, but he was here last night doing the Clash of Champions stream with the lovely Phil Chambers. And my oh my, what a reaction. I just got to show this, even though it's on another video, the stream.
Cross promotion, smart.
Cross promotion. Little clip, Adam Wilborn's reaction to the Fiend here. We're going to show it on screen. I'm going to show it to Adam clearly on my phone. It's just one.
Got a fucking hurt! He's got a hurt hand! You're gonna die, Seth! Oh, yeah! Yeah, kill him! Kill him! I want him to die!
Thank you very much.
Oh, God, them streams, they get you, don't they?
They do. Thank you, Matt Rains, for clipping that and sending it to us. Great stuff. Good luck, Adam Wilborn. He's probably asleep right now.
Matt Rains, the medium dog.
Anyway, let's wrap things up today. Thank you for tuning in. You can follow us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. You can listen to this thing on the podcast as well. I don't know the official spiel for that. We were supposed to do it at the start of the video. We did not. Probably getting in trouble.
I remember. If you're a fan of this sort of thing, don't forget to follow WhatCulture on Acast, Spotify, whatever you get your podcast from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But as I say, I'm joined today by Andy Rogan. I've been Wilborn all week, man.
You can follow you on Twitter at
Adam Cleary, CLERY.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Humpty Numpty, sitting on a wall like some kind of
clueless egg. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you probably later on today. Goodbye.